Alright, hello and welcome to League of Loggers. This is episode 13. Today we are discussing the LCS Spring Final.
Absolutely.
We had a full 5-match
we went full 5 games again. It was crazy. Mm-hmm. I gotta say, if nothing else, just between the TSM Cloud9 semifinal and then this final, fucking just great to watch. Like, 2 really exciting best of 5 matches that went the distance, and there's a lot of great play and some interesting like drafts and all sorts of stuff, and good storylines, of course, like between different players and all stuff. So yeah, I really enjoyed this playoffs as a whole, but I really enjoyed the finals a lot. Personally.
Me too.
Chase is mad because he predicted 3-1.
Yeah,
and he's wrong.
Well, so I knew that TL was going to end up taking it. I mean, that's the way I predicted. But it's just so depressing that TSM had such a solid start. Like, if TSM would have won the whole thing, I would have been like, good job, guys. I'm glad I was wrong. But the fact that, like, I was right and TL won, I'm like, I don't feel anything at all. Like, I'm just empty inside.
I think, the series was so interesting because the first 2 games, TSM looked very good. Like, Game 1 was fairly close. Game 2 was pretty decidedly TSM. And at that point, I figured, like, Jensen's mental was broken. I'm like, oh, he's done. It's over. In Game 3, like, it's not like he popped off, but Impact was on the GP. It was just like, I fucking got this.
he popped off.
Yeah, Impact was just like, no, I refuse. And, like, went to town. And, like, Broken Blade had been so good in games 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And Impact was like, nah, you're still new here. Let me show you what I do with your butthole.
Yeah.
That is basically what happened,
His heal on the GP it out-healed fucking Vlad.
He out-healed Vlad on the GP?
Well, I mean, he just, every time they'd go in, he'd be like, let me eat
those oranges,
let me
they give you all that.
Have you ever seen an AP GP chase? Because the orange scales with AP.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
You can go AP GP and like heal for like 500.
God,
it's so
much
funny.
Scurvy.
You don't do like shit for damage, but like nobody can kill you.
Yeah. I mean, they did kill him a couple times, but it required team effort and a long-standing like fight for him to go down. So.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I almost feel like the best way to like for me to think about the series is like going through the players, and like Broken Blade had a good series all the way through. Even the games where he didn't like do the best, he was still very good. I mean, he wasn't a true rookie, obviously, because he had played in TCL for a couple years and been a champion over there. But the dude's gonna be fighting Licorice for best top in North America. Like, come next split, if he can learn some tanks, like, and not just be on hard carry tops. I mean, he probably can play tanks, but it probably just suits TSM, and I feel like it suits better to have him on carries. But, like, him and Licorice, it's going to be, if he's consistent, it's going to be 1-2
I think
easily.
It'd be Licorice and Impact first, because Impact, I think, showed up at times where Broken Blade didn't, especially, like, on Akali the last 2 games. So.
Right. Well, game 1 and 2, though, like, Impact's cannon wasn't great.
No, I was surprised he brought that back out later on, too.
Like, I was commenting on it myself, like, just sitting on my couch watching, and then the commenters were saying they're like, I don't know why Impact's not looking for flanks on this cannon. He's, like, running straight at them with his ultimate. That's not going to work. I'm like, yeah! It's like, you got the Vladimir flanking, and the cannon's, like, running at you. One of those was succeeding, and one wasn't. And both of them have kind of the same win condition. Get right up in the thick of the team, drop my ultimate, blow a bunch of skills, and kill everything, / make the other team useless. And yeah, like, Impact was not doing that in games 1 and 2. His Kennen, game 4 was much better. Because I want to say he went GP, Kennen, and Vladimir in their wins.
Yeah.
But yeah, games 1 and 2, Impact he didn't seem all there, but also there was a lot of tension from Acadian going top. And Acadian played pretty damn well too, I think.
Oh, definitely in that first game. If we're going through like games and then the people themselves.
Yeah.
Frickin' Xmithy picking up J4 first off, and not first picking Tom Kench and basically giving it to Smoothie.
Yeah.
I mean, I think TL could have won the first game had they just drafted smarter and better.
I agree.
So they would have just had the game. Maybe it would have went 3-1 at that point, you know? So...
Yeah, I still don't understand whenever... And like you said, they grabbed the J4 and didn't ban the Rek'Sai. Like, so you expect them to be like, oh, we have a counter to... No, they had no counter in the J4. Like, it is... That J4 did much better into Acadian's Rek'Sai than either Cloud9's did or Echo Fox's did. I will fully say that. However, it still wasn't J4 favored.
Yeah.
Like, the Rek'Sai still does more things overall, like, in those, like, mid to late game fights, and has such an ability to deny things from Jarvan.
Yep.
It's like, oh, Jarvan's hiding over a wall, I can see you moving back and forth, you know, like, even at that smallest level. And so we saw, like, TL finally, like, ban the Rek'Sai in a game or two, I'm like, and take it away as well, I'm like, thank you. But I also like to point out the Tom Hench. They banned it once.
No.
Didn't they?
No. They played it the second game, and then he gave it to Acadian the last 3, but played Skarner.
Oh, he did play it the last 3 games, and they gave them Skarner. You're right.
Yes.
It was Skarner into Rek'Sai 3 times.
I mean, I think that's a smart choice for them. If they're not going to play Skarner and they're going to play J4, then they definitely needed to ban the Rek'Sai. But if they've got the Skarner counter and they know Acadian's comfortable on the Rek'Sai and he's going to play it, definitely go the Skarner route.
Yeah.
And just don't even waste the ban on Rek'Sai.
Chase, what are your thoughts on the jungle that we're talking about right now, as well as top, since we kind of like shot straight past that as well?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a huge fan of like seeing Rek'Sai. Like I know that she's a little bit more powerful, but I think she's rather bland to watch play. And going into the Jarvan, like I don't know. I'm glad that the Jarvan lost that game because I wanted to see TL fall, but no, the matchups are okay. They're not terrible. I don't really have anything particularly interesting
You're
to
just
say.
so mad about this series.
Even he like predicted the correct winner, but I guess he didn't want them to win.
Well, okay, so we were talking a little bit off stream. It's just everyone came in expecting that TL was going to win.
I think that's a bit of an overstatement, actually.
Really?
Well,
Yeah,
TSM
heading
fans, man.
into the playoffs, because of the way TSM had come in, like 11-1, and TL dropped like their last 3. And yeah, there was a discussion. Okay, were they just slumping? Were they trying new picks out? Were they, just not caring? All sorts of things. But still, like 11-1 coming in the playoffs, and they had beaten TL twice. Like some people had TSM as their favorites in the playoffs.
Okay, well, I would have liked that route to have happened. Like, I know you said that TSM, TSM has been around so long, so they have plenty of...
the most, period.
Okay, they have all of the wins under their belt for titles and whatnot.
Yes.
But they haven't been, they weren't especially good last year.
Last year was by far their worst year in their history.
And this year, they've been kind of, mediocre and towards the top. They've been, towards the top.
They started really slow.
Yeah.
But then if they hadn't started slow, they would have come in as second seed. They probably would have beaten out Cloud. Well, then again, it would have just been, all tied up. I don't know what would have happened then, I guess. But yeah, they ended number 3, so pretty damn good.
Yeah, no, I thought they did really well. And then going into the final, I knew TL was going to win, and I was hoping it was going to go otherwise. I picked TL because I didn't want my picks to be wrong. But, watching how TSM played game 1 and 2, I thought that they were going to do it. And they had 3 opportunities.
Yeah.
And in game 5 is when they kind of just were like, we're just going to poop ourselves.
Sven
threw. Oh.
Sven. There's all Sven.
Sven in game 5 was...
Twice.
Twice?
Well, the first time was obviously in the Baron next to where they caught him out.
Right, yeah.
And
he
then,
went way too far out. He thought he was going to get poked and they weren't going to come after him because they didn't know if anybody
they
was
went
there.
hard on him.
Well, and I listened to an interview with Double Lift, and he said, Smithy and, comms, he's like, should I go for him? I don't know where, everybody is. And Double Lift's like, be a warrior, man, you got this. And so, he just fucking ran him down, and it turned out no one else was there.
Yeah. And then the second one was middle lane, a little bit towards the dragon. They ended up just getting Sven in a group of people because Sven was right there kind of with Smoothie, and Skarner could impale him. And they're like, is he going to impale him? He does. And then
Smoothie's supposed to save it. I was surprised he didn't build a QSS.
Yeah.
I thought that was ill-informed, especially because the other 4 people on the team built it super early. They paid the Skarner tax, and it was working. And
He needed to have it. in
Yeah,
that fight.
it's just like, oh, come on,
It
man.
definitely seemed like TSM was starting. Like I feel like the mental fatigue had started to kick in, and it showed. It showed that TL is the better team under pressure.
Right.
Because like game 3, when things started to fall away, like game 3 like was decidedly in TSM's favor for a little while, and then like TL did the TL thing where
You make a mistake.
they made a mistake and they capitalized and punished hard.
Yeah.
Because there were a couple times like, this is it, TSM's got this, like they're going in, and then I was just like, TSM lost that fight. Oh no. Oh no, they lost the next fight too. Oh no. And then it was just kind of like downhill from there.
Well, game 3, what was the pick ban in that one? There's something.
Game 3,
It's
bans
the
were-
first one, Skarner came out.
Yeah, first Garner.
Correct.
Yeah, so.
And GP, obviously.
And then the GP, yeah. And that's the thing, like, GP was just, like, doing GP up top, where it's like, hey, you may not see me for a while, but when I show up, I'm gonna, like, half your health, because I've gotten 2-3 items. And yeah, and like you said, TL, it's funny because as much as I don't find their playstyle interesting to watch, and I don't believe it's going to fare well on the international stage, because I think these other top teams, as we saw at Worlds last year, teams have gotten past the point where the mastery of the game is just being clean, because that's how Korea won for years and years and years. Was like, we're not going to make a mistake, then when you do, we capitalize on it, which is what TL's doing now. But we saw at Worlds last year, these teams have all the players, all the teams have like kind of gotten to such a level where, you know what, let's back off the perfection a little bit and throw fucking aggression in your face. And it's really hard to maintain your perfection when somebody's aggressing on you over and over early. And if you crack, that aggressive team, if they're still playing pretty perfect, will crush you. And like that's what happened at Worlds last year. That's why Cloud9 made it to the semifinals. It's why Korea didn't make it to the semifinals. It's why G2, Fnatic, and IG looked so good at the end of that tournament. I would drop Cloud9 below those three. I think G2 and Fnatic were better. And we saw Vitality almost get out of the group too with Cloud9 and RNG because they were also aggressive. And I think that tact is what's going to be important at MSI as well. And so I'm worried for Liquid on that front. And it's so funny because I see on Reddit like people talking, they're like, oh, Cloud9's so aggressive early, or TSM's so aggressive early. I'm like, are they though? Like Acadian ganks top, but are they aggressive early? Because I don't think that's true.
I think they're a little aggressive early.
Like, a little.
And sometimes it doesn't pay off, because there was one game where, it had to have been the fourth game. Yeah, it was Zillion. They go in on Jensen, and Jensen kills one of them. Xmithie
Right.
follows up, and they kill Lysandra, too.
Yeah. Like, I
It
think
just doesn't work out.
they show a little aggression early, more than Team Liquid.
Mm-hmm.
But to call them an aggressive team, like people on Reddit, I think they're out there. I think they're just so used to seeing what TSM has been forever, which is we're going to be the latest game team possible, but then they weren't very good at being clean, so they lost anyway once they left North America. And like TL at least is very clean. Like they're very clean and they do punish when you make a mistake, whereas like old TSM was just like, we're going to outlast you until it's a team fight and then win off of a team fight. Like TL will punish you off those. That's more like the old Korean model. But I don't know that it's going to do well internationally. And I think TSM, if they're going to be an aggressive team, they need to keep leaning into that. They need more of it. Because if they were more aggressive like Cloud9 is, I think they could have beaten Liquid. But they're not looking for those advantages anywhere other than up in top lane for Broken Blade. Like, even when Acadian got fed, it was mostly just still, like, feeding that Vladimir more and more and then getting a little bit of it into mid. Like, I don't know why they're not just doing, like, 5-man parties in the bot lane every day. Like, if they get Broken Blade a kill or two, and Acadian has them too, because obviously it was off ganks, why are they not doing, like, jungle gank bot with the Brooks and Roam with a Broken Blade TP bot? Why are they not 5-man partying and picking up 2-3 kills in like a Drake? I don't see them do that, and that's what aggressive teams do. Like if you probably didn't see any of the European Championship.
No, but you told me,
Yeah, so G2, super fucking aggressive. And game 2 of it, so game 1 they played the Terexona.
Mm-hmm.
Game 2 they gave up the Terexona and they played a funnel comp into it.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a Xayah Rakan, it's just behind it, I think. Xayah Rakan in the jungle / mid lane. a Morgana with a Pyke helping her for just a bit, and then he became like roaming down in the bot lane, and a Ryze up top. And so there was a Pyke Rakan gank on top at like, I don't know, 8 minutes or some shit. Like, there had been a fight mid and stuff happened. Pyke had gotten, Morgana, kept Morgana safe to where she could just clear with her dark pool. She had gotten enough levels and gold. And so he backs, and he starts walking straight towards top. And then we're kind of been with the Zaya in the jungle. He peels off, and he goes. So Zaya's still in the jungle. Ryze is pushing it, and then all of a sudden you have a fucking Pyke and Rakan diving you up top. You're dead. And then they did that. Oh, and then they partied down in the bot lane shortly later. Like, and it was a 4-man party down bot. Like, they were just constantly showing up in mass groups. And it's like every now and then in solo queue when you run across, you're like, oh, this is definitely like a group of 3 on comms. Like, where it's just like they're constantly roaming as a team, and your team's still going, no, I need to be in lane phase. Bitch, lane phase is over the moment 4 of them show up more than once. And when your team doesn't stop lane phase, you lose. Yeah. And I would like to see players of Team Liquid's player skill do that. I would love to see Xmithy, because originally I was talking about TSM. I'd love to see Liquid do it. I think TSM could do that with Broken Blade and Acadian because they have that aggression. But I don't know that they're willing to.
Well, so I feel like they've slowed down like the early game so much with like turret plating and everything else that's going on that like a super early aggressive style doesn't always work. And even if it does work, your payoffs are pretty minimal. Getting a couple turret plates isn't really worth like pulling people out of all the other lanes in order to get a kill or two, at least in my opinion.
Well, no, I mean, like, if you get the kill, you should also be getting the plates and getting, like, Herald or a Drake. Like, you don't do it in a vacuum. It's all, at that level, it's around putting pressure somewhere. And that's why I said, like, you do the 5-man party bot to get the turret and fall back into Drake.
Sure. So
if you get 2-3 kills and a turret and a Drake, and you give up 1 kill, that's absolutely worth it. Because you gave up plates elsewhere, they're not going to get a turret.
Sure. But I feel like keeping everyone in their lane and potentially picking up plates that way is also a solid way. Like, I feel like there's possible, a lot of things happening that are
it's lower risk but much lower reward.
Sure.
And that's what I feel like that's where League of Legends as a pro thing is going. It's you got to go for that higher risk. If you're not saying, hey, we're good enough to pull this shit off, then you're just kind of delaying the inevitable unless your opponent makes a mistake. Which is the old way of pro League of Legends, going, no, I'm just better than you, you will make the mistake and I will win.
Yeah.
But I think people are better than that now, at the top levels.
I think the way that League of Legends is played right now really is suited towards Team Liquid's playstyle, where they kind of play slow and wait for you to make your mistake. And just everything that Riot's doing to the game, like slowing down the first 15 or 14 minutes of the game, like it lends itself really well to their playstyle. So it's like they don't have to worry about like some of the early aggression from teams because I think the payoff is a little bit less overall. And I think that's intended so that the matches aren't over at 22 minutes in most situations, but
Alan said NA needs to stop being a bunch of betas and be alphas like Tyler won. So what we need to do is inject a lot of steroids into our players. And,
I would not.
And not hire anybody over, 5'6"? I don't know. He's short.
He's got to be shorter than 5'6".
He always says he's like 6'2" or something on air, I think. Yeah, like it's a running joke, I think. But yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Not me, I'm just saying. Why lie about it?
Speaking of height, though, because Sven is tall as shit.
Yeah.
During the introductions,
I remember this.
Sven and Jensen came out, and so everybody been introduced and shook hands or whatever, and Sven first goes. Looks straight over Jensen because Jensen's like this tall.
So
he's like,
skip to the match start. Okay. I don't watch it.
Yeah, somebody posted the picture or the clip too.
Oh, I did.
But yeah, he looked straight over. Jensen had a good sense of he laughed about it and they shook hands. But
we got to see Turtle on stage. His beautiful hair is back. Yes. It just took 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I was just like, Turtle's pretty again. Whoa.
Yeah.
He was probably like, let's put that gross stuff in there real quick.
It was terrible.
For the introduction to when they were doing that, it was annoying that they did the Jensen's event at the same time. They should have done the mid and then the bot, and then brought out double lift versus
Well, then you
whoever,
introduce
whatever
them
it was.
twice, though.
Yeah, but and compete, like, say
Well,
it
they
a
had,
different
like,
way,
the
and
beginning of
competing
the
for the
match
most
stuff between,
trophies, and we
yeah.
have these two
Bjergsen.
people.
I get
you
it.
know?
It was weird. I agree it was weird.
They could have elongated it and
like,
done better.
I don't know. There's probably other way. Like shuffle more of them rather than just those 2 lanes or something.
Mm-hmm.
Then it could have been better too. Like be like, oh, who else is like, stories match up better. And so it's like, but the problem there is like, the people whose stories match up are like on the same team because you would be like, oh, you came from a different region. Oh, that's both TSM Sven and Broken Blade. Okay, you've been in this region a long time and haven't won. That's TL, Jensen, and Impact. Okay.
I think it should have just been lane, and competing for the most championship titles are these two
Honestly,
players.
I thought
from these two
a
teams.
lot of the
That
intro
should
stuff
be
was a little awkwardly done.
Yeah.
So.
the
I only
only
watched
thought
the
I had.
stuff that was going on between Bjergsen and Peter.
Peter Pang.
Yeah,
Yiliang, or however his name's actually said, his real first name.
racist.
I've heard it said once, literally once ever, and it was that 7 Days to documentary thing.
Oh, did you watch it? Did you like it?
Yeah, I did finally watch it. Yeah, I figured I'd like it. It was, I don't know, it's kind of interesting seeing how much like of the like owners and stuff they got talking, and like little clips from like Jat and Steve. I mean, Jat not being an owner, but
Yeah.
those. And I was like, I'm glad those were like in there too. But yeah, so. Yeah, I don't know. The series as a whole, though, I think
I liked it. I enjoyed it.
you're a hater.
I
mean,
am.
that is your nature. I
am.
this.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. Like, it's just I wanted to see things get mixed up a little bit. Like, I know that TSM winning isn't really mixing things up, but like TSM winning since I've been watching,
Right.
would be mixing things up for me.
Right, because you literally started watching a month after they won their last championship. Like that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like you didn't see the three-peat that happened literally before this three-peat happened. And that's the thing. Yeah, I've been watching for the entire existence of the LCS. And so even though I'm like, "Oh, I want to see Cloud9 win again" because they haven't won since spring of 2014. Everybody else is just like, "Hey, can it be somebody who's not TL, Cloud9, CLG, or TSM?" Because those are the only 4 teams, only 3 teams that even won a split championship before TL got it first split last year.
Anybody else can have it now that Jensen got one, so I don't care.
Yeah.
Next split, whoever.
Well,
wants
you
it.
know what? We didn't even talk about. I was really happy to see Jensen finally get one. Like he was on
And show up that
Cloud9 for
last game.
so long, and every game 1, 2, and 5. And you know what? Sven lost it not on getting caught out. He lost it because he didn't do it in game 3 and 4. When it got to Sven, he hovered Echo, which Jensen famously choked on and lost a championship for Cloud9 on. He
I
was
noticed that he did that,
hard
right?
carrying the game. Like, he was huge. And they got into this fight in River by Drake, and he did not use his ult or Zhonya's. And, like, he got popped
This
by
is Echo.
Bjergsen Syndra. Yeah, on
Jensen
Echo.
on Echo.
And, like, damage came in, and he got popped, and he didn't hit Zhonya's
get his
or
ult.
ult in
Wow.
time. And it's famous, like, he's like, and his hands are like shaking, and it's like you feel so terrible for him in that moment because he did everything up to that point to be like, all right, Cloud9, we're gonna win this, and that one thing happens, and like when you lose that super fed person, what the fuck do you do? Like the fight's over before it starts, and they lost that championship basically on that
poor
pick.
Jensen.
And so Sven was like trolling, putting that out there, and
I don't see why people troll in high risk matches.
honestly,
like
I'm
this.
sure they know each other too because they're both Danish.
Yeah,
so they probably
fair.
like.
It's
Talk
probably
a
not
lot.
serious,
Yeah.
but you feel like ass when you lose, and I'm sure Sven's like, damn, now I feel double shit.
Well, he did it in game 1 and 2 when they won, and then he didn't do it again until game 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and ironically, I'm sure that's how Sven felt at the end because we saw Sven do the when he got caught out, like fuck. And as Tiger
really
mentioned
painful.
earlier, like Doublelift did the same thing in game 1. They were probably going to lose that game anyway, but it was still very, very close when he got caught the fuck out in mid river towards Baron. Like, he came out of that brush alone, and I think he thought the same thing as Sven, as I know they don't have vision behind me, they'll probably be afraid to chase. And both times the team was like, fucking get him! And, like...
Well, they happened to
ended
land,
it.
like, 2, like, skills that needed to be landed, the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, plus whatever damage got him like mid-low, you know?
Yeah, no,
But,
he took a chunk.
Yeah, and Acadian had landed that thing that gives him the Rek'Sai sense or whatever. Like, just from stepping out, both the bubble, both that hit, and then, like, the Sleepy, he slept way over here, and Acadian was like...
Yeah, well, and they dropped everything. Heal, flash, redemption came down. He died before the redemption landed, and it got popped immediately. It was just like... So. He was fucking trying to run back, and it's just... And, he had lifesteal on him, too, and there's a point at which... He stopped and he did something instead of like hitting an opponent who was coming toward. I think he was like he stepped forward trying to, or no, he kept running away. And it's like you're not going to get away from the Vladimir who's coming for your ass right now because he's fucking coming. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, if he would have autoed, he would have at least got more damage out. Maybe lived, probably not lived, but yeah, he got fucking popped. And people don't remember that because it was game 1 and they ended up winning overall, not that game, but. That was a costly mistake, too.
I don't know. My biggest problems with games 3, 4, and 5 were the fact that TSM lost. No, I'm just kidding. It pissed me off how they handled Barons and Drakes and the Elder Drake. Like, they played some of those so poorly in all 3 of those games. Like, there were a couple instances where they would start, they would back off, they would start, they would back off, then TL came in and, like, leashed it, and then pushed them out, and then it was just like, oh, you gave them a free Baron.
Yeah, they won the game, but I was really surprised when they had the Sonaterra comp that they were not willing to sit on the Baron and, like, slowly drain it, because with that comp, you have shields and heals coming out constantly. You can sit on that bitch forever. Like, it's a mana issue, not a health issue at that point. And until Sona's mana's below half, you still have a full fight left in her. Mm-hmm. Like, she will take half of her health or mana bar in a fight because you're just slinging shit out, like, nonstop. But that still lets you, like, sit on Baron, like, actively fighting Baron as slowly as you want for, like, 20 seconds, which is forever. Like,
yeah.
I mean, 20 seconds is how long it takes you to take that, like, level 3, 4 Drake that you sneak on Warwick. And does it feel like an eternity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like, any second now, somebody's gonna catch me and I'm fucked.
Yeah. And so, like, think about if you were doing Baron, but instead you're like, I am full health this whole time. I'm just waiting for them to move out so we can fight them instead. And if they don't, then fine, we'll finish the Baron.
I don't know, that game that I soloed Baron, soloed because you came
and
you're like, tap, dead. Like, I think I was mostly full health, like, at that point.
It was just you were, like, late game Warwick, just clawing at it, getting health back.
Because once it hits 50% health, like, I get attack speed and then I just heal more than it can hurt me. But
it's like Olaf clearing the jungle at low health. It's
exactly.
Gross.
But watching TSM fumble on basically every neutral objective in games 3, 4, and 5 was so painful. Because like they would start it up and it looked really good, and if they would have just finished, they could have gotten it. But they spent too much time backing off and resetting it and then trying to go back in.
I think it can be said at times they showed a little too much respect to TL, but then there were also times where they didn't show enough.
Yeah.
And like, it's a fucking delicate dance to like put on, you know?
I mean, to be fair, like being in that situation, like there's a lot of stress. There's like high stakes going on. I get it. It's really easy to fuck up, but all you had to do was just win one of those 3 games.
And they got close.
Same goes for Cloud9 a week ago. Oh. And they slaughtered TSM in the first 2.
Yeah.
Like, game 4, TL dominated TSM. Yep. They shoved it down their goddamn throat. Mm-hmm. But, like, TSM had a pretty darn good game 2. It was, late 20s?
But game 2 was like 20.
Minutes.
Oh, it was 34, which is quick for TSM, though, still.
Yeah, because the first one was 39. Well, they won at 40.
TSM was like the slowest team in the league, which is another reason.
Was it game 3 that was the fastest in the series at like 26 minutes or something?
That was game 4.
4, yeah.
Okay.
40 minutes, game 3. So it was 40, 34, 40, 25.
Oh, yeah, because Elder Dragon.
TSM being so slow, like, that's another reason it blows my mind when people on Reddit are like, TSM's such an aggressive team, but like, oh, their aggressive style would be better at Worlds. It's like, they are not aggressive! And don't tell me, oh, they just don't know how to close a game. If you are actually an aggressive team, your lead is so substantial, you don't have to know how to close the game. You just roll through.
Yeah. They struggle.
If you're still being aggressive, like, because we've seen Cloud9 do it, where, like, oh, like a fight goes wrong, but then they do another fight, and all of a sudden, like, they win, and you're like, oh man, what time was? Oh, it was only 25 minutes. How the fuck did that happen? It's well, because you won a fight and you're still aggressive, so you go for something, and then you win another fight, and then the game's over.
That's
like,
why
TSM is not that.
Yeah, that's why I'm more excited to see TL at MSI than TSM, because if TSM has these super long games, like you're saying, internationally, they're just aggressive early game and they get it done quickly. TL, at least, like, they'll play slower, but they'll capitalize on mistakes and they do better team fights as a whole that they might be able to win.
TL is
in
notoriously bad at failing in any international setting.
TSM
like
is more
TSM
notorious, actually.
Would be worse of a showing.
They're
at
the
MSI.
most notorious international failure ever.
Okay, so NA in general is just bad international.
Everyone but Cloud9. That is absolutely correct.
You're right.
Because TSM fails every time. TL has failed, and Immortals before TL. I mean, like, because all the most of the Immortal players moved to TL like last season, but Immortals, when they were around and they failed. CLG, when they've gone, they've done okay. The only team from NA who goes international and does anything worthwhile is Cloud9.
Yeah, okay, but what do all those things have in common? It's all in the fucking past, and now Core JJ's on TL. So they're gonna win. Or at least, I really do think that TL has a chance of doing well.
You know, like, in my first thought when you're like, oh, I'm more excited to see TL than TSM, my gut reaction is no, because I feel like at least TSM does play a little bit faster.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like, and I've been saying it for like 2-3 weeks, is that I feel like they both play a similar style, where it's you make a mistake, we'll take advantage of it, but TSM also pushes you to make mistakes sometimes, whereas TL almost never does. They just wait for you to do one. And I feel like unless you're going to be far more aggressive, like somebody like Cloud9, or, you know, like within NA anyway, somebody like Cloud9, even FlyQuest, like, unless you're going to be aggressive enough to push a mistake out of somebody on a consistent basis, it's not worth being in that middle ground, which is where I feel TSM is right now.
Gotcha.
And so I do kind of agree. I think TL's... I would rather have seen Cloud9 there, not just because of my personal biases, but because I think overall... I mean, over and over, we've seen them be the better team internationally. Yeah. But you know what? With this squad, with Impact, Doublelift, Core JJ, Jensen, Xmithy, like, these are some of the most internationally successful players who have ever existed in North America. Like, Doublelift being the exception. He has not had any success internationally, and that is the monkey on his back. And he said in an interview, you know, after they had won, that the kind of joke / the agreement that was made was Doublelift will get Jensen a championship in NA, that. And Jensen will get Doublelift success internationally.
And I mean, and they got Core JJ. He probably.
Or he said, "I'll get you out of groups." Is what Jensen said.
Okay, well then, Core JJ can carry two. So, Doublelift got them through the NA. Jensen's gonna get them through groups. Core JJ's gonna get them through Worlds. Like, that's how it's gonna be.
Got MSI first, but yeah.
Well.
You've got a whole split before Worlds. Like,
yeah, I mean, like,
I don't imagine TL is gonna, like, slow down at all just because of how good they are normally. I
have a hard time not seeing the three teams that we've mostly talked about being the Worlds contenders. Or the ones going to Worlds. Like, as good as FlyQuest has been, and as much as Golden Guardians have improved and been, you know, ended up being pretty good.
Oh, honey.
Like,
I'm a Golden Guardians fan, but
right,
I don't want to see them in Worlds. Like,
well, no, I would love to see them at Worlds, but I'm just saying, I don't think there's any way that those teams improve enough to be better than those other three. Unless one of those three falls off, like, unless they pull 100 Thieves from last year's spring split, where, like, 100 Thieves was, like, fucking great, and they fell off and they still fucking made it, because they only mostly fell off. I guess Clutch would be the better one, because Clutch went from 4th to, like, 9th. I can't wait. I can't wait.
So, but we have another
We'll finish this
split.
up, and we'll do some of these little side point talks. That'll be fun. But, yeah, like, unless Cloud9, TSM, Team Liquid fall off the face of the earth, those three are going to Worlds, right? Like,
I think so.
They are head and shoulders above every other team in NA.
Yeah,
and I
like
only expect
unless like something really dramatic happens, like shoo-ins.
And I think those three teams will make no roster changes and will only get better because of it. Whereas maybe some of the other teams will make a roster change and get better, but it's hard to make a change and get better than the teams that were already better than you and didn't make one. Like, unless you were right on their heels, which these teams are not. Like, FlyQuest is the closest, and there's a gap.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like 2-game, 3-game.
They took a game off of TL, I believe, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Or no, they got 3-0'd. Because I went out for the.
Oh no!
the 3-0
You mean
prediction.
in their
TL,
Final Four,
yeah,
yes.
in the
I thought you meant
semifinal.
in the season.
Oh yeah.
In the season,
Yeah, they did take one off
yeah.
TL in the season, but yeah,
Not
I would
really.
have expected them to get 3-0'd by TSM, TL, or Cloud9. I think all three of those teams would have shut them the hell down.
Yep.
Like, as good as Santorin is, as much as I like Wild Turtle, I think that team, they're just not
I just
that
saw.
level.
I think Double is
Just saw
better
again,
than
TSM
them,
only
which
won
is
4
what-
games this split. It makes me really happy every
Fabulous.
time I see that. And
For
remember,
what?
Who only? Oh, you said TSM.
I meant 100
Thieves. We don't need to talk about them every time.
but
We have to mention it once.
it gives me so much.
Chase jerks off with their tears.
I
It's
do.
really weird.
It just delights me to no end.
I hope they just I hope Golden Guardians. No, I don't hope this because I actually really like Golden Guardians. But to just fuck with you, I would hope that Golden Guardians misses playoffs by a game, and it's because the only 2 games 100 Thieves wins are over Golden Guardians.
You're a monster.
Yeah, so stop being a dick.
But every time I see it, it makes me so happy. Be like, oh yeah, 100 Thieves only won 4 games this split.
Like, I was just happy that, like, as a Cloud9 TSM rivalry thing, I was like, oh, I was happy to see, like, TSM miss Worlds for once. Because I'm like, well, they always go and shit the bed anyway. And then they missed it. I'm like, good, all the TSM fans can, like, shut the fuck up for a moment. And they've rebuilt, and they have a different team, and there's some humbleness now a little bit in TSM fans. We're not like, oh, we always do everything. Like, it's like, yeah, we sucked for a full year. So, like, now they don't, like, fully sniff their own farts.
I do. I sniff all their farts.
all there.
All of them. You just...
I pay good
When we go
money
to
for them to
LCS,
bottle it up and send
like,
it to me.
you know how, like, the teams, they go high-five the players,
Thanks for
like,
the
or
business
whatever?
ideas.
Like, when TSM wins, Chase just runs behind all the people getting high-fives and just sniffs all their butts.
Well,
That's funny.
people got called out for being weird and like touching players last year, so like,
Touching play? Oh, like in the photo lines? Or
Yeah.
what? Oh, okay.
so I didn't want to do anything weird, so I didn't.
I didn't know people got called out for doing that. People are weird.
Oh
People
yeah,
do it
like
in
I
everything.
think that they were like tweaking
You know,
nipples
yeah.
and like touching butts and stuff.
Oh, I
That's
heard I heard the
rude.
nipple tweak thing. Yeah, no,
That's
that
messed
happened.
up.
The high five line. Like somebody reached out. Like tweaked afro, I
This
think.
definitely
Okay,
happened
well, that's
outside.
alright then. If it was smooth, then
you're like,
fuck
I
him.
get it. I would have tweaked afro too.
He's alright. He's pretty cute. I'm just saying it's smooth. Fuck him.
All right, so last thoughts on the
That's
series, and then we can do like a couple hits around different things. And
I don't know. I
Damn.
enjoyed it. I think they all had their moments. Okay, so Broken Blade had the one on Vladimir in one of the first games where he flashes and gets 2 kills because of the flash.
oh yeah,
So
that's
he had an
beautiful.
amazing play there. Cadian had a couple Rek'Sai dives where he either engaged and the team followed up and they killed people, or he executed and it was just like chance that his little ability hit, so he couldn't even do it.
Yeah.
Like the one on Zillion. Zillion had like this much health.
Oh,
And he even waited out the
he
ult,
waited out the
and
timer
he
and
then
phase
did-
rushed
oh.
him. Yeah, no, that was pretty.
Yeah,
Or Void Rush, I
they
guess.
all
Yeah,
had
his ult, yeah.
amazing,
Oh, okay.
amazing
Well,
plays.
it's Void Rush. That's what it's called. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No,
like,
that
it's
was
the
really
phase
nice how
rush.
he.
no, Phase Rush is the rune.
Yes, you're
Void
right, okay.
Rush. So he had it
Okay,
correct.
cool.
I think I said both.
Whatever.
I think I said
You
phase rush.
corrected
first
yourself
and
to
then
the
corrected
correct one,
myself, Yeah.
But yeah, like every player on every team had an amazing moment.
Mhm.
Like, even Xmithia is so unassuming as his play is. Like on the Skarner, like he did the Skarner things,
He
and
did
like
the Skarner things.
and you can think Skarner's easy to play, but if you haven't played him, if you haven't pulled those grabs
Can't imagine
off,
it, yeah.
you don't fucking understand it. Like, it's not, people are like, oh, it's a point and click, CC, suppress, and drag the person. Okay, fine. Be in the right fucking position to get it. Because when a Skarner starts coming at you like this, everybody runs. So, it's not so goddamn easy, is it now? Yeah, like...
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's like you as Warwick. When you run to the front of your team all of a sudden, does everybody fucking scatter? Like, it's not super...
Not at my level of
True.
play.
Yeah.
True.
They like to group up, so like my
They should.
cleaves get everyone.
How often do you think to yourself, like, God, guys, it's so fucking obvious that I'm diving in. Why did you let me do this?
Oh, I thank God every single day that they let me do that.
But yeah, like, I mean, every player had a great moment. I mean,
like Corday was maybe the only one that I was like didn't stand out for me
no,
in this series.
so
which is funny.
he had some amazing Kench plays.
Yeah.
His Kench saves were
Saves,
fantastic.
I'll say that his saves were better than maybe like his engages or like definitely his Zyra.
Yeah, and
shit
like one of my
lot.
last comments on the series, like usually I go through the pick ban and I'm like, why'd you do this? Why'd you do the only one that comes to mind is, blind picking the Jarvan into the Rek'Sai, and I don't think that's what lost them the game, so I'm okay with it.
I think that it was that plus not picking the Tom Kench.
Right. Well, and so then people like going through the series would be, or like just watching it, they're like, oh my god, why would you let them have Skarner 3 games in a row? It's like, well, what would you rather have them ban?
Yeah.
Because like you look at like they had to turn into banning the Kench because that Kench was gross.
Yep.
If you were on red side, you had to ban the Taric because TSM hadn't been able to deal with it the previous week, and they obviously didn't know how to play it because Cloud9 didn't ban it and they didn't play it, but they had learned and they did fine. So now both teams have to ban the Taric on red side, and the only time that somebody picked to be red side was TSM in that last game, or maybe it was TL. Actually, TL delete, and so they picked to be blue fine. So everybody picked red, and I think in the end, TL made the smart decision, picked blue at the end to be like, no you banned the Taric.
They were red.
I'd much rather be blue anyway.
TL was blue last 2
red,
games.
rather.
They were red.
I thought I had him the other side. Okay, so fine. Then they chose to.
They chose.
They wanted the double pick then.
Yeah, they chose red.
But so you have to ban the Taric if you're red side. TSM was forced into banning the Kench because that was so damn good. Oh fuck! What else were they? They had so many things they had to ban because things were like showing. Oh, the Gangplank. They let the Gangplank through the one game and they got destroyed on it because they banned it game 1, game 2, and then they let it go to game 3 and they got fucked. And they're like, no, back to banning the Gangplank. Like. People who would bitch, and I didn't see it on Reddit, but I also wasn't like reading really deep into the threads where you usually find that, but I wasn't seeing people go, oh my god, why would you let the Skarner through 3 games? And usually I'm the person, who has to deal with that from like Reaper, where he has genius drafts, but also he's really stubborn sometimes. Yeah. And I saw that, and I'm like, no, they made the right pick bans. At least, as the series went on, both teams, like, they figured out what was going on.
The only questionable one was, like, Game 5, TL banned J4. Like, I felt like that was a waste of a ban rather than...
No, because last series in the semifinals, they showed both mid and top can play J4 successfully. That's Jace. But no, they'd seen the J4 played, and I think... What the ban there, and actually, wait, you said TSM ban or Liquid ban?
Liquid ban.
Yeah. Oh, so Liquid banned it to force the specific Rek'Sai Skarner matchup.
Okay.
Because J4 into Skarner is better.
Ask.
That's why. Yeah.
Okay.
They were forcing matchups.
All right.
Sorry.
Interesting. Because I felt like why'd
so
they waste it? Because I felt like Acadian would have picked Rek'Sai regardless.
Yeah. J4 into Skarner. When he starts pulling somebody away, you flag and drag through, or you cataclysm onto him.
Yeah.
Either way, he's either going to be popped up or stuck, and he can't get away. He can't pull that person all the way back into his team. So there's that counter going on. Also, J4 is much more aggressive early, so you could set the Skarner behind and allow your team to, get to that Quicksilver faster while he can't do much.
Speaking of that, Acadian tried the same thing twice, at least twice, maybe 3 times, where he, in the very beginning of the game, he goes up to the Raptors for Xmithy, and he basically wastes time trying to spot out Xmithy on the Raptors. Xmithy just gets the Raptors both times, like the entire camp. And so Acadian's just kind of like over here, like showing him. He doesn't get any CS, he doesn't get any experience. Yeah. And he wasted his time trying to be aggressive there. And I think that's part of why.
Yeah, there's opportunity cost. But I mean, it's his first finals. It was his first playoffs, period, I believe. And
he did well.
Yeah.
So do you think things had gone? Do you think things may have gone any differently if Greg was able to have played this whole split? I mean, it's pretty specific question, and it probably doesn't matter.
No, I think it's a really good question.
Just like maybe like in an alternate reality where Greg isn't like hurt to the point where
like that's a perfect question to like move away from like that series into like other things, and I think a lot of what we saw with the aggression has to do with Zix as a coach and and Reginald as an owner buying into, okay, we need to be more aggressive. And Zix saying, hey, that's through your jungler. Don't make them play Sejuani all fucking day. So I think we would have seen Greg on aggressive champions. But I haven't watched enough of Academy to know how good he is on those by comparison. I really liked his Gragas a lot last season, and he played it really aggressively. Because, like, Gragas can kind of go either way, but his Gragas was aggressive. It was just fucking killing people and ganking constantly. I don't know that he's aggressive as Acadian, because Acadian plays like carry junglers. I've seen him in the past, back when he was, like, on Echo Fox, even, way back. That's when he premiered on Echo Fox, like, 2 years ago. And I think Acadian's probably a slightly better aggressive jungler, honestly, but I don't know. I haven't seen enough of Grig to really know.
Sure.
I think TSM's in a great position that they have him still on the bench. I don't know if you guys saw the shots of, like, the team rooms. Grig's beard is glorious. It is large and thick. Oh my god.
That's what she
like
said.
it's what Bjergsen wishes his beard was when it was big. It's like just his, but more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, Grig's got a hell of a beard.
I don't know much about Grig. I think that for having Acadian for
He
this
looks like
entire
everyone's
split,
single uncle. Oh shit,
Single
I'm
uncle.
that single uncle. Fuck. So, no, exactly, yeah.
But yours is all nice and trimmed, though. It's
Yeah,
nice and short.
I
like
go
it.
back and forth. But yeah, I think Grig's a really good player. I think if there are any issues, TSM has that backup, or maybe they'll like sell him off to somebody else for something else. Because I think they're going to stay pat.
Did he have surgery at all, or like has he been doing like physical therapy? Have you followed him at all?
I have no idea. Like, yeah,
I haven't either.
If there was any specific stuff with recovery. I do know he took several weeks off to start with, and then he was playing with the academy.
Because I feel like academy is probably a little bit lower stakes, and so like you're probably
the stress is lower, but I mean, it's more about the practice during the week that's like a big deal. So he's probably practicing a lot less to like rest his wrists.
Okay.
So because I think it was like a carpal tunnel-ish issue.
No,
Now
like,
he's
fine.
absolutely fine.
And
yeah.
they kept Acadian
But
in
like
'cause he was
week
doing fine.
4-ish is when he was going to come in, and that's when they beat Liquid.
Yeah. Okay. And I feel like for having Acadian, to have your point, like, of would things have been different with Grig, I don't know anything about Grig, but for having gotten to second place and having a 5-game match, like on Acadian shoulders,
I don't actually think that things would have gone much differently either. I was just posing a question.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
no,
Okay,
it's a good one. I don't
Because
I definitely can't say I think it would have been better, but I don't know that it would have been worse.
Because Grig was the intended starter this year, but due to his hand.
Yeah, I think, honestly, the best thing that could happen for Cloud9 is if Grig's fully recovered, if now in this, mid-season, off-season, he gets a lot of practice with the main squad, and him and Acadian build 2 separate champion pools.
That'd be dangerous.
Right, and not just, I play these 3. Like, obviously you would have plenty of shared ones, just because whatever's, like, high in the meta right now. But if, it's like, okay, Acadian, when he's in, he plays the top 4 meta champions, but he also has always Rek'Sai and Kindred and something else to pull out. If Grig's in, he always has the top 4, but he also has Gragas. And I'm trying to think of things that aren't, like, super tanks. I don't want to say, like, Zac and Sejuani, but, like, because I'm sure they both can play Sejuani. But, yeah, like, I don't know.
I think that's, like, TSM 101 is you learn how to play Sejuani.
Well, that's every jungler 101. Sejuani, at some point, again, will be very good, because she offers so much CC. Yeah. She's fantastic.
Does TSM have an obligation to play Grig at all, or they can just play Acadian as they want?
Yeah, no, they play him however they want, yeah. Okay. But I think that would be, like, ideal, is if you have that ability to interchange them.
We saw Optic kind of do that between Meteos and
early
Dardoch.
In the season, because, Dardoch didn't play after, like, season, or week 5 or 6?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
I think it was 5, and then, like, yeah, he was done.
Like, I think that they realized that either A, they weren't good enough to do that, or B, it just wasn't worth it to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen teams in Korea and China do it with both jungle and top laner, where they have different playstyles, and also, but it is best in a series. That is by far the most useful in a best of 2 or 5, where jungler A, Acadian comes out and he plays the first game, and Grig is back there analyzing this, because he can see everything. He's watching Xmithie's pathing. He's going, okay, this is what he's doing. Yeah.
What? So you can. I mean, I know that
because they're
were
just watching
talking
the
about
broadcast.
taking out Acadian and Grig, like the last one versus C9 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like, I feel like that's cheating.
Yeah, I mean, ish.
They're watching Xfinity for 2 games.
Because like that was the thing. Was Peanut on SKT? I feel like, yeah, and that was something he was famous for doing. Is like Peanut wouldn't play game 1.
Yeah.
Or game 2 sometimes, and he would just sit. He would be watching, in the team room, and analyzing the shit out of the jungler. And then if they felt like they needed him, Peanut came in and he counter jungled the fuck out of the opponent. Or he was always there for the counter gank. He was ganking where the other jungler was not, because he's like, okay, from all the study I did beforehand, but I know what he's playing today. Because that's the thing. How you play on the day is not necessarily your overall tendency. It may be slightly different because of whatever game plans your team has come up with. And so, say, TL's plan was, okay, we're going to go up top just in case there's lots of ganks top, because we expect that. But we're only going to do that at, on first clear and fourth clear or something. Because they do make plans like this. At that level, you're making full out, 5-minute plans kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It's in professional football, usually you have your first 10 to 20 plays completely scripted. You're running them no matter what the fucking situation is to get a rhythm, and your team just plays. So yeah, it could be okay, he's doing that on this and this. He seems to be avoiding Krugs. He's making sure he gets Krugs on first clear, but then he's not actually going them again till his fourth clear. All these little things. Okay, so I can steal this camp. I can pressure here. Having 2 junglers, if you think they're both to that level where you can play them and be just as successful, there are advantages like that, because a jungler has more freedom than anybody else in the game by far. Mm-hmm. When it comes to top lane, that has probably the most diverse champion pool, and so that's the next place you see interchangeability being really advantageous. So.
Well, I'm glad they rode Acadian out. It might have been smart to bring in Greg after that first game too, though.
You wish you would have rode Acadian out.
I can't hold on. What's the other thing?
He's the
I
pretty
can't
boy.
even remember.
Yeah, I just pulled him up last week.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I got Broken Blade.
I think the only thing, because we kind of discussed with every other team who lost, was I think the only thing TSM needs to improve upon is just more.
I would.
More aggression early.
I don't know, I'm saying I've seen better looking games.
I would like to see TSM have more aggression from somewhere other than just jungle and top, because it works so well in jungle and top. If they can get, a little more aggression out of mid or bot, that'd be great, right?
If we go like this, no. If we go like this,
I mean, it's the whole package. So, you gotta go with both.
Disagree.
Any other thoughts on any LCS teams or TSM?
I'm excited. I'm excited for MSI. I know it's gonna be not for a couple weeks, but...
Yeah.
Thank God it's not gonna be it for a couple weeks.
So, the other news you mentioned for a moment, we should quick hit on.
Clutch is going bye-bye.
So, Clutch sold it. They still have some stake in it, but it's Houston Rockets owner who owns them, and that's why they have fucking Texas on their jersey.
Yeah.
He sold a majority stake in the team, so he still has some ownership, to the guy, one of the owners of the 76ers, who just 2 years ago bought the rights to Dignitas. He bought that organization outright, basically. Mm-hmm. So... according to what was reported, it won't be until the 2019 season, because a mid-season rebrand would be fucking crazy. Yeah. But as part of this deal was that the 2019 season, Dignitas as a brand will be making a return. I'm excited for that. Dignitas is OG material, TSM, CLG, Dignitas, Curse, which is now Liquid. Those are the OG teams. So I'm so happy to see Dig back.
I'm excited.
I don't really have any... I don't care either way. I've seen some of the Dignitas Rocket League stuff, but I wasn't around when Dignitas was around in League.
I want to see, Dignitas do, social media stuff with, Kiwi Kid and Skara. And I'm a cutie pie. I'm a cutie pie. He was their AD carry forever.
Yeah.
Just fucking Michael Santana, man. He's just such a fucking bro. He's high as shit all the time, I'm pretty sure. But he's just a dude.
Yeah, no, I really like that we're not going to have Clutch anymore, just because...
I hated their jerseys.
Yeah, agreed.
Texas.
Oh, I hated their jerseys. They're awful.
I imagine that we're going to see a pretty big overhaul of Clutch. I bet they're going to try to figure out how they can pull in some better talent.
Well, okay, so what they were rocking Huhi, Lyra, Damonte,
Hooney.
I'm sorry, I said Huni. I said Huhi. Huni, Lyra, Damonte. What was their belt lane for most of the season?
Doesn't matter because
Piglet,
they're garbage.
Vulcan.
Piglet,
Oh, yeah.
Vulcan.
Yeah.
And then late in the season, they moved Piglet to mid. And,
Dumb.
I'm so okay. So I was listening like
Dumb.
to the dive or something else, and like people seem to think like Damonte wasn't that good. Also, I'm like, I'm sorry. Do you guys watch the same Damonte I watched? Because he was good on Echo Fox. I thought he was one of the best rookies in the fucking league.
Oh, I agree.
Even though he wasn't a true rookie. And he's on this team where Huni ain't doing shit. Lyra's fucking feeding half the time. And Piglet is the old dumpster can he's always been. Like, the only players I wanted to keep on that team were... And people are like, oh, Vulcan's good. Like... And they're like, I don't know if Piglet's good anymore, but like they were fine with Piglet replacing Damonte in the mid. I'm like, are you fucking high? Damonte's a good mid.
I don't think they should have been able to do that. Like, I think there at least should be some restrictions where you're not like just shuffled into a different role.
Well, I mean, Piglet wanted to.
Yeah.
Well, don't humor the shitty
Oh,
ADC.
I know. They've done it
Like, come on.
two different... Liquid did it in the past.
Liquid learned no lesson. It
That was
nope.
when Liquid was going to be relegated, actually, at
Oh,
one
wow.
point. They were this close to being relegated. Double Lift had taken a split off of playing. Like, he was just like, hey, I need a break, and, like, retired for a split. This is while he was with TSM. Towards the end of that split, Liquid's like, we're fucked. So they did a, basically, what we talked about a couple weeks ago, a loan of Double Lift to Team Liquid. And so he was their AD carry for, like, for the last week, maybe, and then relegation tournament. He's the only reason Liquid stayed in the fucking league.
That's kind of cool. I had no idea.
Like, he hard carried that team. Like, because when you have a player of that caliber, it's just like, no, I can win. Yeah. No, Liquid should have been fucking... And then he was back on TSM for, like, a full year, and then moved over to Liquid after that. But, yeah. It was just like, fuck.
But they're like, you saved our ass, we're going to give you lots of money if you come to us.
Well, they would have done it. It was TSM decided they want... So, people don't know if TSM wanted Sven or they wanted Mithy. More often, people say that they're pretty sure TSM wanted Mithy. And at the
They
time...
didn't want to break the pair.
At the time, Mithy was like, I'll come, but you have to get Sven as well. Like, they had been the best bot lane in Europe on G2 for like 2 years. And he's like, sure, I will play for TSM, I'm interested, but I want to play with my bot laner. And so that's why, so they released Double Lift when they got Sven to agree.
But what happened with Mithy?
Sven and Mithy did not go well last year, and so Mithy went back to Europe and is now on Origin.
And then they picked up Smoothie. Okay.
Origin?
No,
he's
sorry,
on G2
TSM.
again.
TSM.
He's back on G2, isn't he? I know.
Oh, he was talking about
but
something
both,
else.
yeah. But yeah, Sven's still there. Mithy went back.
Gotcha. All right.
But yeah, so I know it's yeah. Okay, he is on Origin. Thank you, Jeff. I couldn't remember for sure who the... I knew he was playing in the championship this weekend, but I couldn't remember for sure if he went back to G2 or he was on Origin. But he is on Origin. So, oh man, it's just fucking Dignitas. I'm so excited to have Dignitas back instead of fucking Clutch. But goddamn, do they need to fix that team? They have to get rid of Piglet and probably get rid of Lyra and maybe get rid of Huni.
I bet we don't see much change between... Well, actually, maybe this would be the best time to make changes, is between summer and or spring and summer split.
It's harder because less players are on the market.
So I think more likely we're going to see another really shitty year or split for Clutch, and then we're going to see a dramatic overhaul.
I'm gonna make this statement now, and we'll see if I'm fucking wrong. If Clutch holds on to Piglet, they will absolutely not make playoffs. They will probably be a bottom 2 team. If they get rid of Piglet, they will definitely not be a bottom 2 team, and they might make playoffs.
Okay. All right.
I think Piglet is that much of a fucking problem. I think Huni is less of a problem than Piglet by a wide margin.
I think Huni plays well when people around him play well. And I think that he's really bad at carrying a team. Like, he doesn't have room in his backpack for anyone else.
He needs somebody to help him get to do the carrying, and that was Dardoch in the past. And Lyra's not the Lyra. I think Lyra could have a resurgence. That's the thing. I'm not completely sold on Lyra being done and over. I'm completely sold that Piglet's done.
I would like to see Clutch pick up Dardoch. I mean, he's not playing for Optic right now, and so
The question is if they're willing to sell him.
they're not.
Same goes Blabber. I don't know if I mentioned this previously. Apparently, the rumor is that Cloud9 Jack, would like to sell all of Academy as a unit.
What? See, that's what I was saying.
Well,
I know, and you had said it. That's why I wanted to bring it back
Yeah.
up. Like, yeah, you
That's kinda
mentioned
cool.
it, and I was like, I doubt it, because I think he wants to hold on to,
that'd be
one
like
of those players.
Super
But-
fashion.
But it would just, yeah, and I
Super
think that's where it comes in. It's like, hey,
Cloud9 Academy is going to be Dignitas next year.
Maybe.
That actually wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah. For
Like-
Dignitas. Maybe.
well,
probably not
I
a bad
still,
idea.
I think DeMonte has more upside than Golden Glue does at this point, as much as I like
But
Grayson.
I bet
As
we
much as I
see
do.
Demonte
Grayson
and
Gomer, Golden
Hooney.
Glue.
Gotcha.
I bet we see the rest. Like, I bet we see Hooney stick around, even though he probably shouldn't. We're gonna see Demonte stick around, like,
And actually, I think Vulcan might be better than Diamond, Cloud9 Academy's current support.
and that's possible. I mean, you buy them as a
Maybe.
team, and then you bench
I've
who
only
you don't
seen it
care
once.
about.
True, yeah. No, yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that. Because at that point, okay, fine, still have Golden Glue as a training partner for DeMonte, and that, yeah, that's actually not a bad idea at all.
I have good ideas sometimes.
I think Kumo would push Hooney to, like, be good again, possibly. And if he's not, then you just play Kumo, because he's good. Like, the only reason he's not playing on a team right now is because he's behind Licorice.
Yeah.
Like, there's, like, 3 players in the league where if he would... You know, if he's behind them in top, like, he's not playing. And Licorice, Impact, and probably Broken Blade. I bet he would play over Viper and every other top laner.
I want
Now
to see
I'm-
more Keith.
Now I'm curious, because that actually sounds like a good idea. Dignitas come back, buy up the Cloud9 Academy team, and then just cherry pick from both of them.
Yeah, if the rumor is true that Jack is looking to sell them, and if the money is available, because I'm guessing that is a
Yeah. that's what I
very
feel
expensive
like. It's not
proposition,
gonna be-
especially for a team who already has Hooney under contract.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why Hooney's not going anywhere, but it'd also be really painful to watch them pay all that money for Hooney and then have him ride the bench.
Yeah.
It's like buying Michael Jordan and making him ride the bench.
Yeah,
But Michael Jordan was better.
much. It was like buying Faker and making him ride the bench.
Oh.
Last
That's
year-
too much.
Last year that wouldn't
that's
have
giving
been
Hooney
too
too
much
much
of a
Faker-
credit,
stretch.
actually.
Faker is the... No, I was saying Faker and Jordan.
Okay,
I was
yes,
comparing
yes,
those two.
that's an accurate.
No, Hooney, I guess, what, the basketball would be like buying... I don't know, not even Scottie Pippen. Like, worse still.
Who's
What
the
about
guy with
Dennis
the funny hair?
Rodman?
Is that who I'm
Dennis
thinking of?
Rodman,
Yeah.
probably, yeah.
Like, he's good, but he's not as good as the other two.
Yeah, no, he had, like, his period of brilliance in his role, which wasn't,
yeah.
like, a full team carry. Like, it makes total sense, because, like, Faker carried that team, and people would say, like, and sometimes you'd be like, oh, Bang did too, that's Jordan and Scotty, and then he was the third, which was Dennis. Fucking Rodman, good God. Chase made a sports ball reference, guys. A very, like,
One that I got.
specific one, too.
I know old Bulls. Like, I used to watch basketball. Like,
Wow.
You know, in a few more years, we'll both be referred to as old bulls.
I'm already an old bull in some communities.
I was using
You freak at
bulls.
those often?
I was using
Okay.
bulls as a different word. You old bulls.
Oh.
I was making a gay joke. You
Yeah,
didn't.
you
You
were.
didn't follow.
I mean,
along.
all of it tied
See,
together.
people saw me shirtless over the weekend and they were like, you know, like, and Nate said something about bears or whatever. I'm like, I need to be like 3 inches taller and like another 50 pounds, and then I'd be an amazing bear.
We could make that happen. Well, we could make half of that happen.
I was like, you're gonna break my legs and stretch them out? Chase, no!
We could get you some platform shoes.
Well, I mean, does that make him a bear at that point?
No. Makes him a
Like, what's
drag
the word for
queen.
that?
Yeah, I'm like, at that point I'm a queen and I have to shave. This is the opposite.
Yeah.
Right?
You're gonna create a
Also,
whole new
in
genre.
all of these situations, you need to make me gay somehow.
Well, yeah. I see
He's
more.
thinking of ways.
I see more action in your future if we can make you gay somehow.
No, that's probably true.
That's why my best dating advice is to join Grindr.
Wow.
It's also his only dating advice.
Accurate.
You could. You know what? That's probably.
All right. So we're all looking forward to Dignitas.
Yeah.
If Dignitas is just Cloud9 Academy
If it's
bought
Cloud9.
over and maybe still including like Huni or Damonte, I think we're all on board with that.
Yeah.
I actually like that idea.
I mean,
I'm okay with
maybe
Damonte,
Damonte,
Cody's
maybe.
son, Vulcan. Like that's what I'm okay with. I think the team will even just do.
Oh, that's right.
better
Cody's son
just
was the
for
person they
those
brought in.
five. Yeah.
God, I feel like because they have Cody's son, that team's not so broken it can't be played. I think they need to just play Damonte, Cody's son, Vulcan in the bot lane, and then maybe swap out later. Like I think just getting Dardoch from Origins or Optic is the better route for
I
that
want to
team.
give
agree.
Lyra.
Maybe 100 Thieves
another
just
chance
needs to
for
buy Academy though.
Because Lyra did some cool shit that I.
But they
don't
have
know.
Bang, which is fine because like Keith's not nearly as good as most of the other AD carries in the league. So there you go.
I feel bad for Bang. Comes to US for the first time and
CLG
just
or
gets
100 Thieves.
fucked on.
Those are the teams that need to buy Cloud9 Academy.
Poor guys. We're ruining people's careers just by talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
No,
That's why we're not in the decision-making process for any of these people's lives.
Yeah,
so
right.
thank God.
I'm barely in decision-making process for my own life.
Yeah. All right then.
All right. Any other thoughts before we move on? MSI, just, I mean, we don't know all the teams even yet, but... No, I mean, I'm excited for it. I'm honestly more excited to see how G2 does, because they are crazy, and they play all sorts of different styles. I mean, like I said, they played the Sonoteric, and then they played a funnel strat, and then they played straight up, and that straight up game, I didn't even mention this, Chase, unless you didn't saw it in the chat. They won that straight up game in 18 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 18-24 or some shit.
That
That's
happens in
impressive.
some of my silver games
I
when
know,
I get
yeah.
really far
Yeah,
ahead.
that was game 3 of the LEC finals.
Yeah, I was about to say, and not only that, it's
Okay,
the finals.
that's
Yeah.
bad.
They 3-0'd on an 18-minute
It's going to be really interesting to see how TL deals with these other teams from different countries playing different styles and just
Yeah.
playing different games.
Yeah, I'm
Not
excited
really
to
like
see,
straight up
I mean,
games.
G2. Like,
God, we've got 3 weeks off. Hot diggity.
I don't know if we have 3. I think it might be 2.
Well, we don't have anything next week or the 29th, and I don't see anything
Well,
on for the
so it'll be
6th.
2 or 3 depending on if we do a pre-MSI show. That's
Okay.
why. But yeah, we won't. So on that note, we won't be on next Monday, and the MSI schedule will be a little wonky. We'll be posting it in the Discord, the YetiGamer Discord. Let everybody know what the schedule is going to be. So until then, though, everybody have a good time. Enjoy a little bit of time off, and drink a few beers while we're not around.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I have to show you this.